Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and I'm not alone. I'm joined by the superb Felix.
Ooh,
Sorry, I'm joined by spooky Felix. Cards on the table time. Felix is not into this, so it should be interesting. So Nintendo yesterday randomly just dropped a teaser trailer that they're calling Emio. And you will have already seen it, in this video by now. It is just sort of shots of a man wearing a paper bag on his head, and it's a bit smiley. And at one point, the paper bag, the smile changes ever so slightly. It's not a big thing. That is it. That is all we've got to go on. And I can't for the life of me remember the last time Nintendo ever did anything this teasery. Can you?
No. I must be completely honest. Just to be completely clear, I do not like horror games, like Alex said. So for me, this announcement doesn't do anything for me. But what I do think is really exciting is that Nintendo is just doing something very different. You don't see Nintendo doing this very often. So it's like, oh, what do you got cooking, Nintendo? So I do know many people that really do like horror, and I sent it to them, and they were like, "Ooh, why is Nintendo doing horror?" Yeah, you don't see that every day, and that's why it's so such big news almost.
Yeah, but there's more to this than meets the eye as well. I don't want to just say, we're just going to talk about this tiny trailer. No, there are finer details that have come up through different sources and things like that. One of which is the Japanese name, which is probably not going to be that much news to people who are into this. It's known as Smiling Man, or arguably the Smiling Man, but Japanese doesn't have any articles in it, so we'll just say Smiling Man. And interestingly, do you know what Smiling Man is in Japanese?
No, is it Emio?
Emiotoko.
Emiotoko.
So that's presumably where Emio comes from.
Oh,
which
yeah,
is
100%.
Which makes sense, and it's kind of fun to see that it's not arbitrary. So, but it gets better because on the Australian version of this trailer, I don't know why I'm guessing this is some sort of requirement in Australia, but there is more information about the rating. So the rating in Australia is a 15 plus. And actually details why it's a 15 plus. In terms of the themes, so the themes include violence, cruelty, domestic abuse, and certain themes that we probably shouldn't mention on YouTube for names, but it's the self-imposed end of personal struggle. We'll leave it at that. This is the Mario developer doing this. And it's fair that Nintendo has done horror in the past, but it's usually been Nintendo published. I mean, Fatal Frame is arguably the exception, but it's not super, scary, and it's certainly not going this dark with horror. Eternal Darkness wasn't developed by Nintendo, it was published by Nintendo. I imagine they probably had a bit of a hand in the development, but it was mostly Silicon Knights. So this is quite a jump up for Nintendo. But the details don't stop there. Because there is also speculation. Because have you heard of a company called Bloober Team? We've covered them on the channel before.
No, I don't think I've heard of them, Alex.
Bloober Team is a developer that specializes in pretty much, as far as I'm aware, just horror. They did Layers of Fear. They did Layers of Fear 2 as well. They did The Medium. I think they also did the Blair Witch video game as well, I want to say. I've actually been to their offices. It's in Poland. It's very cool. And in an interview earlier this week, they referred to something called Project M for Nintendo platforms. And they are saying that it's being developed in cooperation with the world's best game creators for Nintendo platforms. And interesting that it says Nintendo platforms, which now it's by no means a smoking gun, and there are a few things that don't hold up with this in this regard. For example, obviously, Project M, you sort of think, Emio could be a complete coincidence. Also, there's no indication that Nintendo isn't developing Emio, which means that, it may be the Bloober Team is working in collaboration, but I would be surprised if they were able to go public with that information first. Nintendo are usually very, sort of tight-lipped about this sort of thing. And, sort of they say they're... I just don't think it necessarily adds up. It doesn't mean that we can throw it out completely, but it's interesting.
One thing that I do find very interesting is why this wasn't shown in... Well, it is a very short teaser. Normally they don't do those in the directs, but why wait a month after the direct to showcase this? Do they not have faith in it, or do they just want as many eyes on it as possible?
I don't know. To be fair, it's not Nintendo's normal wheelhouse. I don't think it's unusual to say. So it may well be that they didn't feel it fitted in the same idea as a direct, where they often reveal something and they talk about it. It's more mysterious to just upload it and just leave it there. It creates a huge sense of mystery. And look at us, we're doing a video about it, so it's worked.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, I think it's really nice that Nintendo are also trying dip their toes in the horror genre, even though they've done other horror stuff. It's just not what you think of when you think Nintendo. So imagine if they can get like a big thing. I mean, you see, at least on Twitter, I've seen a lot of fan art already about this character and this short teaser, so they're doing something right.
Yeah, I mean, the character is simple, mysterious, immediately weirdly appealing by hiding identity, yet having a strong identity in the design. It's very simple, but it's very effective. And, horror is a huge genre. And it's mostly relegated to things like PC gaming. Not exclusively by any means, but there's a lot more of it on PC than there is elsewhere. So the idea of Nintendo taking on something like this is really exciting. Imagine, Felix, maybe this will be the first horror game that you actually like.
And actually play. So, no, definitely. I mean, we'll probably have to do something of it with work and stuff. No, when we get more details, I'll see, okay, this could be something. Okay, this is not my cup of tea.
That's entirely fair. It's entirely possible. I know that Xeon's very excited for this as well.
Oh yes. No, I will say though, here lately I've been wanting to try out new things and maybe horror games. Maybe that I feel like that's a good place to start when they release this.
Yeah, I mean, I at the same time, I am excited, but I am also reasonably desensitized to horror. Not that I don't like. I don't watch a lot of horror films or anything like that. It doesn't do it for me, but horror games I enjoy. But as a result, a lot of it is, jump scare, and I know it's moved on a bit since then, but there's still a lot of that in horror games. The atmosphere and everything like that is really difficult to capture. But as I say, I'm very desensitized to stuff now. I don't get shocked by things. I think it's just an overexposure thing. And also, I think a degree my age.
You've grown old, Alex.
I've seen stuff, man. I've seen
everything.
Stuff.
These eyes have seen the horrors. No, I think the most horror game I've played is probably Outer Wilds. It just has some really... People know what I'm talking about when I say fish. Yes, there's a scary fish. Really like screaming. Oh my God. No, that's not. But it's also exciting. Even though I hate it, it can also be quite exciting. It's just when it's really psychological horror, I get really messed up by all that. I get completely like thinking about it a lot. And that's the part I don't like. But I think just regular horror, I can get around to that.
I think for me, one thing that doesn't do it for me is supernatural horror. It doesn't... Yeah, it's strange because my partner's the complete opposite. She can deal with real horror because it's like, it's sort of believable. It can happen in real life. That's not scary, which I don't agree with. It's the total opposite for me. If it's like, this is just a real person that can just, pop round and do some horrible things, that's way more frightening than some Freddy Krueger, I'm in your dreams, kind of thing.
Yeah. No, I think I agree with you there, Alex. Real stuff can normally more scary. Doesn't mean that unreal stuff isn't scary either. But,
no, absolutely not. And I'm willing to have that changed around. But it looks like it's going to be reasonably grounded from the repeating footage you've been watching.
I have no idea.
For
I don't have enough stuff to judge it by.
No, and that's the whole point. Nintendo's just like, oh, here's a little bit of information. Bye.
Hashtag who is Emio?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's, I suppose, one extra bit of information, but it's just a hashtag. Who is Emio? Emio is the smiling man. We've solved it. Cheers. Anyway, I think if anyone can pull this off, it's Nintendo. Really wild direction for them. I'm super excited. Are you a bit more excited now we've had this chat?
Yeah, I think I'm a bit more excited. I'm just glad to see you excited about something, Alex, because a lot of the times it's like I'm going all like, ah, and Alex like, yeah, yes, understandable. Good for you, Felix.
Again, I'm desensitized.
No, it's great to see this side of you, Alex.
Anyway, that's our thoughts on this incredibly short piece of media. What do you think? Let us know with a comment down below. Genuinely curious to see whether you've got any theories, any ideas, whether there's anything else you can glean from the Japanese text that we can't. Let us know in the comments down below. But for now, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you pop over to nintendolife.com. Oh, it's scary or something, and hit that subscribe. I've completely mucked up this outro. And be sure to check out nintendolife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye.